All right, we're on here. Happy Thursday, everybody. It is September 26th. This is a meeting to talk about active design issues for Backdrop CMS. On the agenda today, first up is Backdrop the product. So these are design or front-end related tasks for Backdrop CMS itself. The first one is issue number 479, which is something we've been working on a while, where we want to make it so that if you create a view and you select the grid style display, that would be possible to make it responsive. So right now, what happens is you get an HTML table. An HTML tables are really hard to make responsive. And so our plan had been to switch out the markup and the CSS for the HTML table with markup that's just divs using the CSS grid style pattern. But when we were looking at getting that in for Backdrop 1.8, it looked like it didn't have widely enough adopted browser support. So we figured we'd push it to 1.9 because it looks like the support is growing pretty quickly, and the use of those older browsers is also diminishing pretty quickly. So we have a pretty good start on that issue, but we're going to need to rebase it, obviously, now that we have 1.8 out, and we're going to need some more eyes on that. Nate, did you have something you want to add to that too?
Yeah, just that there's two issues. 479, which is making the grid responsive, and then there's 2811, which is your issue to use CSS grid. And the one that uses CSS grid, the later pull request doesn't make the grid layout actually, or the grid views layout actually responsive. It just makes it possible to make responsive through contrib implementations, which I think overall is probably the direction that we'll end up heading, and then leave like some kind of responsive grid to contrib if that's even really necessary.
Okay. So I'm going to update the one in the agenda to 2811. I think there was also some work done in the previous issue that would replace all of the markup in the grid layout with divs and attempt to collect data in the views UI about what breakpoints you wanted and how many columns you wanted at each breakpoint, which is why I ended up creating a separate issue. I felt like that might still be a viable approach for grid, but that wasn't something that I thought was applicable for core. It made kind of a massive user interface and made something that's already really confusing, which is views, and something that's really more confusing. But it's also super powerful. And so I didn't want to kind of override the work that was doing there or leave it behind. So I created this other issue. And thank you for reminding me that there were two approaches to that. So we have a bunch of other issues that are currently slated for 1.9. And you can see those in the 1.9 milestone on GitHub. I think you looked through there and you didn't see anything that was urgent and needed design feedback. But I would encourage anyone who's interested in helping us with the design of Backdrop the project to keep an eye on that, because it could be that at any time new issues are raised and tagged with 1.9, and then we're going to need design feedback on how to make them actually happen. And if you're interested in all of the design-related issues that we're working on for Backdrop itself, there is a tag in the main issue queue, audience design, which is anything where we're going to need review of design changes or actual designs created in order to help get those cleaned up and merged in. I also wanted to talk a little bit about backdropcms.org because we're not in a current rush to get Backdrop 1.9 out. And what I've noticed is over the past few weeks and maybe even months, the #1 request I'm getting from people is they want to see a list of sites that people have built with Backdrop. And so I think this was our priority until we decided to redesign the homepage, which we never managed to get done because I think the scope on that kept increasing. We made some kind of progress towards getting our theme cleaned up. It's using the new layout system, where we've got significant improvements to what we had before. But I think that we should change our focus back to working on the showcase. Site is obviously fine as it is. It definitely could be better. But I think we need to solve the needs of the people who are using it right now. So I know we have a design for a showcase page. There's an issue, it's issue 176, which was our original intent of collecting data that we'd need for the showcase. And I know we already have a content type on the site that reflects the data. We just need to figure out how to build a view of the showcase content, which seems like we are so incredibly close to getting that done. I'd love to just knock it out and get it into the navigation so that people can just find it themselves on the site rather than needing to ask somebody who knows that there's the secret / showcase page that hasn't quite been finished theming yet, and get that done. So that is issue number 176. I was going to look at that today, but if anybody else is interested in helping us build and theme a view, I'll try and find the designs and post that in the issue in case anyone wants to look on that. The next issue is something that I found while I was looking at what was left to do to update backdropcms.org. And one of them is to switch our current horizontal menu, which is, I think, just a list of top-level links, to the built-in core drop-down menu using smart menus, or I guess what are smart menus. And we tried to do that initially, but we realized that the drop-down menu needed a little style update in order to work with our current theme. The one that comes out of the box wasn't quite right, and then we have some style in our theme that overrides it in a way that works when it's a single list of links, but when we make it a drop-down, it's overriding things in ways that look funny. So in order to switch to using the drop-down version of that menu, we're going to do some CSS tweaks. So CSS tweaks, and then also we might need to have someone with a design eye look at the end result and say, oh, you know, we need to change these colors, or we need to make this active state different than what's coming out of core alone. So that issue is number 305. Oh, and all of the issues for backdropcms.org are in the issue queue in backdropops/backdropcms.org, in case you're looking for those later. But they're also linked from this agenda if you can find that. And then if you're interested in working on other things we're doing to backdropcms.org, there is, you can look at any issues in the queue there. There's been a bunch of great feedback recently, and I think we should try and keep moving our primary website forward as well, so that it reflects all of the neat stuff that we're doing with Backdrop. Nate, did you want to bring up anything else, other issues people are working on right now, or otherwise?
No, I don't think so. Like you say, I think most of our design focus right now is actually on our public marketing and backdropcms.org itself. And so I don't have anything to pull up from the project queue at all.
Okay. Well, I would like to encourage, if anyone's working with Backdrop and you do find something that you think needs design attention, please create an issue for us. Right now, there are a lot of people working on Backdrop who are mostly developers, and we might not notice things that could use a little design improvement. So if you have that kind of aesthetic sensibility and you notice something that you see as weird, definitely feel free to let us know about it, and we can figure out how to fix it. Especially if you have an idea how to fix it, that's even better. But definitely feel free to jump in and let us know. All right. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, I know there's some people watching right now. If you have the ability to ask a question, you can. If not, feel free to save it for later if you have one. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and end this meeting, and then we will be back on in half an hour to talk about development tasks for Backdrop CMS.
Okay. All right, thanks.